I've been using the Fuji system for about a month now, and I think it's time to share the things that I've grown to like about the Fuji system and the things that I've noticed that I don't like about the Fuji system. Let's talk. So just as a background, in my career dealing with cameras, so far I have been a Canon shooter, a Nikon shooter, a Lumix shooter, and for the most part, a Sony shooter. Now, with that experience, I recently changed from a Sony and Lumix setup into going all in on the Fuji system with my Fuji X-T4. And I must say, there are things that I really like about the Fuji system and some things that I'm probably not the biggest fan of. Okay, first of all, the Fujifilm bodies are absolutely my favorite among all the brands. The film camera look is just, it is so much my cup of tea. Especially the ones from Fuji like my X-T4 with their separate shutter speed dial, the ISO dial, exposure compensation dial, and combined with the fact that most of their lenses have a separate aperture dial. It's just the tactile feel of the whole system is just, it speaks to me. And somewhat in that same vein, what everyone was probably expecting me to say, another thing I really like about the Fuji system is their film emulations. It is just incredibly satisfying getting a good filmic look for your JPEG straight out of the camera without ever needing to take that photo into any sort of editing app. And of course it also saves you time. If you're traveling, for example, you can just get your great photos, transfer them over to your phone, and then post them. No need to wait to get to your hotel or home, for that matter, if you don't have a laptop, and throw those photos, those raw photos, into Lightroom or On1 or Capture One or whatever you're using, and then edit them to how you want the end result to look like, and then you can post them. Having those film emulations and having them look really good is just, it is something that I absolutely love, and I would probably say that I've loved it even more than I thought I would, even though I haven't gotten quite the results I was hoping for yet, but I know that that's just down to me still learning how the whole emulation recipe thing works. Okay, then continuing on with more physical stuff, I absolutely love the Fuji system lens lineup. It's just, even the most budget lenses have great build quality, have great optical quality, and they're small and compact and they're easy to take with you. This is the 35 f2. This is like $350 new. I think so. I think I got it for 350, 450, somewhere in that range, new. And they're absolutely fantastic quality-wise. And in total, the whole range is very well filled with Fuji lenses. Of course, there are Tamron, Viltrox, Sigma, all of those guys are in the play as well, so it is a massive lineup of lenses, looking at you, RF mount. But in total, that lens lineup is just really, really good. And because they're APS-C lenses, they're also cheaper than full-frame lenses. Duh, less materials. One odd thing about the lenses though, I think they're a little funny looking, especially with the 43mm thread. Look at that tiny little end there. But regardless, that's just an aesthetic thing, personal preference, I would say. Of course there are big lenses too, but you know, for the most part, I mostly use primes, so it's stuff like that. So if I need a travel lens, this is a tiny thing. I could have 4 of these for the size of a zoom full frame lens. It's great. Okay, and lastly, on the things that I do like about the Fuji system that I'm bringing up especially, is the amount of settings. So no need to change any sort of region settings to have all the frame rates that I possibly want. thank you. And also there are many options, so the specific frame rate range that you're looking for, you're most likely going to get it. This is something that I also had with my Lumix, but I'm happy to see that it's also here now in the Fuji system, because I didn't have that in my Sony cameras. Okay, now for the things that I'm not the biggest fan of. And the first thing has to be autofocus performance. It's fine. It works for the most part. But coming from a Sony a6400, that was my main camera before, which had lightning fast autofocus, and the tracking, once it got its target, it did not let go. And that's not even the best Sony autofocus. So coming from that into whatever this is, has been a change for sure. It's fine for photos for the most part. I have had it miss, even though it said the subject was in focus, and it wasn't. But for the most part, it has been okay. But when you go to video, I have had it hunt several times. If you look at my last video, there's actually a part where I'm waving my hands around and it's actually grabbing onto my hand. Okay. Yeah, so the autofocus system definitely needs work, but it is work. I can work with it. And I know there are 1,000 videos on YouTube and everywhere on people saying that you need to change these settings and those settings and these settings to get the most out of the autofocus system. But that's the point. If it was a good system, you wouldn't have to change all of those settings, because the other brands out there are getting it right straight out of the box. Like the Sony cameras, like the newest Lumix cameras, like most of the Canon cameras, they just work. And then another thing that I found underwhelming was the menu system. Now, I don't understand why everyone wants to compete and say that this or that or this brand's menu system absolutely sucks or this is better. They're all pretty awful. The Fuji system is fine. It's not clear, and that rings true for most of the systems. Like I said, I've used them all, even Olympus for a little bit at work, but I don't have a lot of experiences with that. But the ones that I mentioned, Canon, Lumix, Sony, and Nikon, all the menu systems are crap, to be honest. And Fuji's are not different. There are things that I do like about it though, so when I open up settings, it instantly opens my menu, which is very nice. But then again, you have to have the bad with the good. So, for example, you can put card formatting into your My Menu. Why? There's no good reason to do that. To not be able to do that. But that's all the thoughts that I've had so far with my usage of the Fuji system. Have I upset Fuji users enough now? Or do you actually agree with the grievances that I've had with the Fuji system? Let me know all of that in the comments below, and let me know your experiences as well with the Fuji system in the cameras. In any case, have a great rest of your week. I will catch you all in the next one. Okay, bye.